Welcome to Epg Pathshala. My name is Purendra Prasad. I teach in the Department of Sociology, University of Hyderabad. Today we are going to talk about allopathic medicine. This is part of the Sociology of Health course. Allopathic medicine is only a medical science which developed in the recent past, 200 years. It's only after Industrial Revolution, the rise in the rational and scientific temper, allopathic medicine actually is developed. Allopathic medicine is scientific medicine which has a epistemology which is universal in its nature. What it actually means is that allopathic medicine talks about objectivity. It sees the objects in its truth form. So, allopathic medicine actually, as I said, developed after Industrial Revolution with the rise of scientific discoveries, with the immense advancements that actually took place in terms of scientific innovations, geographical discoveries, explorations, where a lot of theoretical kind of developments in biology, in physics, in chemistry, and a whole range of developments in geology and geography. So, it is actually a culmination where the positivist notions of body and mind actually developed. It is within the tradition of British empiricism, German idealism, and the French positivism. These are the broader theoretical stratums which contributed to the notion of body and mind, talking about the giving rise to health and notions of health. So, when you look at allopathic medicine in its scientific form, we need to understand that the positivist epistemology contributed significantly. It believed that all objects can be studied in its realistic forms. So, when you go back and look at the notions of science, it talked about universality, objectivity, reliability, verification, and in terms of proposing certain models so as to prove that these models can be hypothetically proposed and can be proved. So, the very notion that objectively facts can be studied and the possibility of replicating these scientific inventions, scientific notions, it can be replicated and therefore it has universal kind of nature. So when you look at the time, for instance, it believed that there is one universal time, which is what gave rise to notions of universal body in allopathic medicine. So whether it is a child, old, a black, white, woman, man, all bodies are universal realities. So body is a body that can be taken as a template on which universal reality can be interpreted. So these notions actually came from the positivist philosophy. So when you look at, for instance, René Descartes, who actually proposed that mind and body actually are exclusive kind of things, privileging mind over the body, because Descartes believed that the body, which is actually the kind of passive, non-material, meaning that the distinction between body and mind is actually read in terms of a philosophical division between materialism and non-materialism. The way mind actually constitutes something that is at a cognitive level, at a abstract level, it actually captures, while body actually is only a physical material thing. So in that sense, these distinctions actually have paved the way to a kind of Hippocratic science or Galenian science that they talk about, which is what allopathic medicine represents. Based on these philosophical notions, allopathic medicine actually constructed the notion of body and mind as not only distinct, but body as a machine model. So it does not have any significance of its own, and this is where allopathic medicine actually started reconstructing the empirical medical science, which actually is capable of understanding all the bodies universally. And that is the reason why till 18th century there was only what is called as unisex model, meaning that medical science believed that men's body and women's body are one and the same, while male organs are outside, female organs are inside. The body template actually is exactly the same. Of course, the feminist and the later social science scholars actually questioned that the experience of women undergoing pregnancy, undergoing the menstrual experience would actually contribute to a different a notion of body. These were contestations, but allopathic medicine actually conceived all these bodies as one or unified kind of a thing, and that's where today when medical science actually believes that everything can be tangentially read and objectively interpreted, that's the reason why diagnosis becomes very important. Okay, today it's not so much in terms of a medical doctor actually examining the body, but a large part of it is technological medicine, which actually comes up with the readings through different diagnostic technologies, and that becomes the basis for interpreting the sickness or abnormality in the body. However, one should remember that allopathic medicine actually emerged based on the advancement in the capitalist material production processes. It is with the discovery of science, progress, that the allopathic medicine actually became, more acceptable. The notions of body and mind actually provided the other set of important kind of entry points for allopathic medicine to universalize and see everything as a medical reality. As I said, the rise of allopathic medicine actually came about in the context of political and social phenomena. One such important kind of context for rise of allopathic medicine is that it was developed when different European countries were colonizing the world. The appeal of the Western approach actually drew strength from the fact that it fitted very well in terms of the rationalization of opportunistic interests in the Western elites of developing countries. This is what D. Banerjee and others actually critically look at the rise of allopathic medicine. It went through a lot of approvals and disapprovals in the history. It's not that it emerged in a vacuum. A lot of things actually were discarded, a lot of things were incorporated. So historically, allopathic medicine incorporated a lot of material and the necessary elements from other systems of knowledge. So when you look at dissection, for instance, Roman law actually prohibited dissection for a very long time. It was only in the 16th century where the public anatomy, public dissection actually took place, and that also with the approval of the church and the religious leaders who prescribed and prescribed rules in terms of what to follow, how opening up the body may actually be against the will of the God. That was earlier kind of notion, but it was accepted only through the public dissection. So in a sense, if you look at how Christianity, Greek medicine, and other systems of knowledge actually contributed to the development of allopathic medicine, I think that's where one needs to actually look at the antecedents. With the Renaissance came increase in the experimental investigation. Dissection actually was something that was acquired advanced kind of knowledge. The Renaissance brought in an increase in the physiological research. Scientific approach to medicine emerged, and some doctors actually started questioning the traditional and earlier systems of medicine. So in that sense, the notion of body and medical knowledge actually underwent lot of transformation through interactive process. The discovery that microorganism causes many diseases also led to an understanding that what causes malaria, tuberculosis, influenza, and many other diseases. Germs provided a biological foundation for the uniqueness of the different fevers, and finally what actually rendered as a stage of disease, all these things were through germ theory. So the discovery of microscopes again provided a advancement in terms of understanding the cause of diseases. So, each of these scientific innovations, whether it is germ theory, discovery of microscopes and other developments that happened primarily because of the scientific temper, the rationalization that was actually advancing in the European society, contributed significantly to the development of allopathic medicine. Okay. So, the advancements in different fields, okay, of medicine actually contributed. It is in terms of physics, for instance, how contributed to nuclear medicine. Nuclear medicine actually provided the basis for radiation techniques and the way the treatment can be done through certain radiation mechanisms. Similarly, biochemistry and biophysics actually contributed to the X-rays, how the X-rays actually were very helpful for the allopathic medical system to discover the pathology, the skeleton system, the soft tissues. Similarly, the advancements in biology, for instance, cell theory, which was developed in 1838, became the foundation for the modern medical science and technology. Okay. So, it was through these building blocks from plant sciences, animal sciences, that Louis Pasteur, who discovered the germ theory, who was not a qualified doctor, but he was a trained physicist and a chemist actually. So, these branches of science contributed significantly to the development of European allopathic medicine. So, when you look at the industrial revolution, okay, particularly the increasing wealth, growth of capitalism, the improvements in printing, transportation, technological developments, all these contributed to advancement of modern medicine or allopathic medicine. Medicine profited from all these things to produce the institutional kind of structures, whether it is hospitals, clinics, dispensaries, nursing homes. So, it is the growth of capitalism that actually led to the birth of the clinic, as Foucault and others actually clearly demonstrated. So, by the mid 20th century, physics and its technologies dominated the visions of the future. Antibiotics offered to remake the clinical medicine and influenced the medical technologies. So, the development of cell biology, genetics together with biochemistry actually contributed to medical development a lot. So, the point that we are talking about is medicine actually is a heterogeneous kind of branch which actually incorporated advancements from biology, physics, microbiology, chemistry, from nuclear physics. Several disciplines contributed to the advancements. So, in that sense, what is important is that how did this particular medical kind of science, which is only 200 years, achieved the dominance and complete kind of hegemony over all knowledge systems is an important question. Now, how did medical science, particularly allopathic medicine, achieve the hegemony over other systems of knowledge? This is actually directly linked to the mode of production and capitalist society. So, with the rise of capitalism, modern medicine actually found synergy with the ideas of accumulation and profit making. So, the synergy between the scientific advancements and that of the capitalist ethos constituted the basis for the rise of allopathic medicine. The critiques of allopathic medicine actually point out that radical changes in the social and public life of people actually came about because of the modern medical science and its applications, because medical system actually has become a commodity in the market. The focus actually was more in terms of overproduction of illness in contemporary advanced societies. So, even where diseases and illnesses actually did not occur, the modern medicine actually, with the commercial kind of interest groups, produced new forms of illness, new forms of diseases, and this is what we talked in terms of medicalization of the society. So, the critics point out that allopathic medicine actually, provided enormous benefits to the humanity, because it was able to understand deeply the anatomy, the physiology, the structure of the body, which other sciences actually did not provide as much. The minute actually structures, tissues, molecules actually were studied, and therefore it did contribute to the understanding of the anatomical body very significantly. However, allopathic medicine also led to the overproduction of illnesses in the society, which is what actually led to further kind of sickness and lot of disease situations in the contemporary societies. Okay. So, one could see, for instance, I think Turner and others raises the whole debate about the relationship between body and mind, self and society. Turner argues that body, according to the modern medical science, has become the focus, and this actually led to disciplining the bodies, surveilling the bodies, controlling the bodies. In fact, the female bodies are much more regulated and controlled. When you look at the most medical practitioners actually agree that mind and body are inseparable in the experience of sickness, suffering and healing, but in terms of text, allopathic medicine believes that body and mind are actually distinct. And when you look at in the Indian context, allopathic medicine actually came to India in 16th century with the Christian missionaries and civil and military officers of the western colonial powers. The first allopathic hospital was established in Goa in 1510 in Portugal. Later, with the help of East India Company, British doctors and surgeons actually regularly employed the healthcare services under the British residents. The native medical school was established in 1822 in Calcutta and in 1835 in Madras, and the trainees were instructed that fundamentals of both allopathic as well as Ayurveda were more or less same, and that is how they started attracting the Indian medical students into the allopathic fold. In fact, when they started a medical college in Bombay, there were no takers, because allopathic medicine involved with dissection, involved with cutting the bodies. The educated elites at that point of time were only Brahmins, and therefore they associated that it is actually the polluting kind of a profession, and which is against their own religious and cultural kind of context. So, it took a very long time for the British to actually make the Indian students accept the allopathic medicine. To make them accept, British started medical colleges where Ayurvedic text, Unani text and the modern medical text, all three were actually taught. It was taught in vernacular. All of them were told that, allopathic medicine and Ayurvedic medicine, the scientific principles are one and the same. But after the sons of the Kavirajas and Vaids of the Ayurvedic medicine accepted and joined the colleges, once they realized that there is a kind of a demand, then they withdrew the native text. They withdrew the vernacular. They said the quality and standard can be maintained only if it is taught in English, and the rational and scientific principles can be learned only if allopathic medical text is taught. So that's how they gradually withdrew, and then actually it was it was executed in the Indian context. So the point that we are talking about is that it was not a simple objective kind of science and its merits that attracted the students for the medical training, but it was primarily because of the colonization of the body, as David Arnold actually talks about. So this is where we thought the history of allopathic medicine is important. Let me sum up. Allopathy actually developed with the rise of capitalism, with the rise of Western scientific temper, with the philosophical trends and the rise in the British empiricism, the German idealism and the French positivism that allopathic medicine developed. It did not actually develop in vacuum. It incorporated elements of knowledge from other systems of knowledge, other medical sciences, particularly the biology, physics, chemistry, and the Greek and Egyptian and other medical knowledge systems as well. But the basic principles of the understanding of the body and mind came from Descartesian kind of philosophy. With the discovery of germ theory, with the kind of microscopes, with the kind of discovery of cell theory, a lot of advancements that happened in understanding the deeper anatomical structures of bodies. Allopathic medicine did contribute extensively for improving the health status of the human beings. However, it also had the negative side, where with the rise of commercial interests, the interests of allopathic medicine are directly linked with the capitalist ethos, and that led to the notions of body in terms of commodification of body, commercialization of healthcare services, and that actually contributed to the benefits as well as the negative consequences in terms of the health services. And when it comes to the third world countries, or in particular India, it is a long journey for allopathic medicine to be able to get accepted here. It was through colonizing the body, it was through subordinating the indigenous and native medicines and medical practitioners that allopathic medicine actually achieved its hegemony over the Indian bodies and population.